From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Rob Westgate. The chair of the Canadian Radio, Television and Telecommunications Commission says it would like to move faster to modernize the country's broadcasting system. However, Vicky Atreides says implementing new rules is complex work and the CRTC must consider many conflicting opinions. Critics have accused the regulator of taking too long to implement the Online Streaming Act. On Tuesday, CPAC said CRTC's delay in implementing the act was partly to blame for its decision to cut two flagship news programs. Prime Minister Mark Carney says Canada may be prepared to wait out U.S. President Donald Trump on negotiations to renew the CUSMA Free Trade Pact. Carney says Canada is ready to go into detailed negotiations, but his government is also ready to wait if that's what has to happen. Bloc Québécois leader Yves-François Blanchet says it would be a bad idea for Ottawa to wait and see if Trump becomes easier to deal with should the Republicans lose the November midterms.
The best way to start a negotiation is not, as I read in some English newspaper yesterday, to play the clock. So hope that this fall he will lose the control of at least one of the two chambers in the Congress and then be in a weaker position, and then we will be stronger to negotiate. It might be a naive way to see the way Mr. Trump thinks or acts.
Canada's former top trade negotiator, Steve Verhoeven, says Canada is in a good position heading into the trade talks because pressures on the Trump administration will only increase over time. Peace River, Alberta is under a flood alert this morning. The northern Alberta town says people in the area should be ready to evacuate on short notice because of possible flooding on the Heart River. The affected area is between the Highway 2 bridge and 104 Avenue in the south end, including all of the downtown. And residents are being advised to fuel up their vehicles and gather necessities like important documents, medication, and supplies in case they are forced to leave. And finally, some familiar voices are joining Montreal commuters on the city's metro as the Montreal Canadiens get ready to host their first Stanley Cup playoff game at home in 2026.
Lane Hudson, Juraj Slavkovsky, Jakub Dobiš, and Alexandre Texier from the Habs have all recorded messages in French that are now being played on the metro to announce the next stops as cars approach the two downtown stations next to the Bell Centre.
Prochaine station, Montreal.
Prochaine station, Lucien Lallier.
The city's public transit agency says it's aiming to bring some playoff energy into daily commutes. A spokeswoman says the idea grew out of a popular social media campaign with the team. She says the initiative will continue for the duration of the Canadiens' playoff run or until they win the Stanley Cup. David Augustine, The Canadian Press.
This is The Canadian Press. In sports, the Ottawa Senators are in must-win mode after a third straight loss to Carolina. The Hurricanes held on for a 2-1 victory last night. Ottawa defenseman Jake Sanderson left the game due to a head injury. Elsewhere, Buffalo defeated Boston 3-1, taking a 2-1 series lead. And Colorado doubled up on Los Angeles 4-2, earning a 3-0 series advantage. Now looking ahead, two Canadian teams will see action tonight as 3 first-round series resume. Montreal is home to Tampa Bay, and Edmonton will visit Anaheim. Both best-of-7 series are tied at a game apiece. Utah will welcome Vegas in the other game. That series is also tied at 1. The Toronto Raptors are right back in their first-round NBA playoff series against Cleveland. Scotty Barnes had a career playoff high, 33 points in Toronto's 126-104 win. The Cavaliers still have a 2-1 lead in the best-of-7 series after winning the first 2 games on their own home court. And after a day off, the Jays are back in action against Cleveland later tonight. From the Canadian Press, I'm Rob Westgate.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.